Welcome to Wealth Hustle 247 podcast, your trusted guide to financial literacy, business innovation, and entrepreneurial success. Learn how to grow your wealth, make informed decisions, and turn your ideas into profitable ventures.
Discover the secrets to building a richer, more fulfilling life with Alex.com's 15 monthly investments to make for a richer life. This AI-generated overview is your guide to transforming your mindset, finances, and habits for success. Each investment is a step closer to financial freedom, personal growth, and the life you've always dreamed of. Start investing in yourself today because your future deserves nothing less than greatness.
All right, let's dive in. Today we're exploring 15 investments for a richer life, based on Alex.com's video.
Sounds intriguing.
It is. And don't worry, it's not all about money. We're talking about leveling up your finances, relationships, personal growth, the whole 9 yards.
Like a holistic approach to well-being.
Exactly. And the best part is, Alex.com emphasizes that it's not about huge, sweeping changes.
More like small, consistent actions that build up over time.
You got it. Think of it like planting seeds that grow into a beautiful garden.
I like that analogy.
So let's get our hands dirty and start with finances. Alex.com kicks things off with a tip that feels like common sense, but sometimes we need that reminder.
Let's hear it.
Setting aside 20% of your income for a 6-month emergency fund.
Ah, the good old emergency fund. Essential, but sometimes overlooked.
Totally. Alex.com calls it your financial fortress, shielding you from unexpected storms.
Makes sense. It's not just about practical protection, though, right?
Right. It's peace of mind, knowing you can handle whatever life throws your way.
It frees you up to pursue those bigger goals and dreams.
Now, while we're on the topic of finances, let's talk about maximizing savings. Alex.com suggests exploring high-yield accounts.
High-yield accounts?
Yeah, have you looked into those?
I've heard of them, but honestly haven't done much research.
Well, they can be a game changer. They offer a higher annual percentage yield compared to traditional accounts.
So you earn more interest.
Exactly. And that's where the magic of compounding comes in. It's basically free money over time.
Free money. I like the sound of that.
Me too. But Alex.com also stresses the importance of diversification. Not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Spreading the risk, for sure.
They suggest exploring alternative investments like art through platforms like Masterworks.
Art. That's an interesting one. Tell me more.
So you buy shares in blue chip art. We're talking big names. Banksy, Warhol, Picasso.
Wow, I never knew that was possible for, well, normal people like me.
Right. It's like getting a piece of that exclusive art world.
And do these investments actually pay off?
Well, Masterworks has seen some impressive returns. For example, they sold a Banksy painting, and investors saw a 17.6% annualized net return.
Seriously? That's impressive.
They've had similar successes with Basquiat and Warhol, too. Shows the potential, right?
Definitely. It's great to know there are alternative options out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Alex.com doesn't stop at investing. They also highlight creating multiple income streams, recommending a side hustle.
Side hustles. Everyone's talking about them.
And for good reason. They use a pretty powerful analogy. Relying only on your paycheck is like walking through a snowstorm in summer clothes.
Yikes, that's a chilling thought.
It's about creating financial resilience, having options, empowering yourself.
I get it.
Yeah.
Not being solely dependent on one source of
No.
income.
Exactly. And Alex.com stresses that it doesn't have to be this groundbreaking, revolutionary idea.
So just starting somewhere is key.
Yes, tap into your skills, your passions, and just start building something.
Makes sense. Small steps can lead to big things.
Absolutely. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about relationships. Alex.com highlights the importance of nurturing those bonds.
Relationships, the foundation of a good life, right?
They are. And Alex.com suggests scheduling monthly check-ins with those who matter most.
Monthly check-in.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in life and let those connections slip.
I know what you mean.
It's like anything that needs care and attention to thrive, like a plant needing water.
Makes sense. Relationships need tending, too.
Exactly. So even a simple phone call, a coffee date, a thoughtful message can make a difference.
Just those little gestures to show you care.
Now, speaking of investing in yourself, Alux.com stresses the importance of self-care.
Self-care.
They recommend planning 5 healthy meals per week.
5 healthy meals. Are we talking like strict dieting here?
No, not at all. It's not about deprivation.
Oh, good.
It's about being mindful of what you're fueling your body with.
Being more conscious of your choices. I can get behind that.
Right. Planning ahead helps avoid those unhealthy last-minute choices when you're tired and strapped for time.
Makes total sense.
And speaking of energy, Alux.com recommends exercising 3 to 4 times a week.
Exercise. I knew that was coming.
But don't worry, it doesn't have to be grueling.
Well, that's a relief.
Even a 30-minute walk, yoga, or dancing can make a difference.
Right, finding those activities that feel good.
Exactly. It's about moving your body in a way you enjoy.
Movement as a form of self-care. I like that.
Now, to complement that physical activity, Alux.com suggests incorporating mindfulness.
Mindfulness. That seems to be everywhere these days.
It's gaining popularity for a reason. They recommend just 10 minutes of meditation daily.
10 minutes. That seems manageable.
It is. You know, I used to think meditation was this mystical practice for monks and yogis.
I thought so too.
But it's really about training your mind to be more present, cultivating that inner calmness.
Yeah, just finding that stillness amidst the chaos of life.
And you don't need hours of practice. Even a few minutes a day can make a huge difference.
So it's worth trying.
Absolutely. It's about creating that space for stillness and clarity in our always-on world.
I'm definitely feeling inspired to incorporate some of these tips.
Me too. It's amazing how these small, consistent actions can add up to big changes over time.
And we've only just scratched the surface. I'm looking forward to diving into the next set of investments.
Me too. We'll be back soon for part 2 of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Alux.com's 15 monthly investments.
Where we're uncovering those secrets to a richer, more fulfilling life.
Exactly. And we saw in part 1 that it's not just about money.
It's about that holistic approach.
Alux.com really emphasized that.
They did, remember. Small, consistent actions over time.
Like those little seeds we talked about.
Yeah. And speaking of nurturing growth, Alux.com talks about the importance of strong relationships.
Those are essential.
Absolutely. They suggest scheduling monthly check-ins with those closest to you.
Monthly? I don't know if I do that.
It's easy to let those connections slip, even with the people we love.
True. Life gets busy.
It does. Alux.com compares it to tending a garden. Relationships need that regular care.
So even small gestures can make a difference.
Exactly. A phone call, a handwritten note, a shared meal, it all adds up.
It's about showing you care.
Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about self-care. Alux.com had some interesting recommendations there.
Like what?
They suggest planning 5 healthy meals per week.
5. That seems like a lot to plan.
But think of it this way. It's about setting yourself up for success.
So you're less likely to make those unhealthy impulse choices.
Right. When you're tired, hungry, and don't have a plan, you're more likely to grab something quick and unhealthy.
That's so true. Planning ahead is key.
It's about fueling your body with what it needs to thrive.
I like that. Taking care of yourself.
And on that note, Alux.com recommends exercising 3 to 4 times a week.
Exercise, of course.
But hold on. They emphasize that it doesn't need to be intense or time-consuming.
Oh, good.
A brisk walk, a yoga class, even dancing around your living room, it all counts.
I can get behind that.
The key is to find activities you actually enjoy.
Makes sense. You're more likely to stick with it if it's fun.
Movement should feel good.
Yeah, like a way to celebrate your body.
Now, to complement that physical activity, Alux.com recommends adding mindfulness.
Mindfulness. That seems to be a buzzword these days.
They specifically suggest 10 minutes of daily meditation.
10 minutes, is that all it takes?
They say it's enough to make a difference. You know, I used to think meditation was this, really intense practice.
Me too. Like you had to be a monk or something to do it right.
But it's really about training your mind to be more present, more aware.
Right, finding that inner peace.
And Alux.com emphasizes that it's not about emptying your mind completely.
Yeah, that always seemed impossible to me.
It's more about observing those thoughts and emotions without judgment.
So it's about creating that space for stillness amidst the chaos.
Exactly. And you don't need hours of practice. Even a few minutes each day can help.
Okay, that seems doable. Maybe I'll give it a try.
It's worth experimenting with. Now, let's shift gears to something a bit more creative.
Sounds fun.
Alux.com suggests trying a new hobby 1 day a month.
A new hobby every month.
It's about stepping outside your comfort zone, exploring new things, and rekindling that sense of curiosity.
What kind of hobbies?
Anything that sparks your interest. Painting, photography, writing, pottery. The possibilities are endless.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of options.
The key is to approach it with a sense of playfulness, without the pressure of being perfect.
So it's about enjoying the process.
Exactly. And it's a great way to discover hidden talents and passions you might not even know you have.
That's a cool way to look at it, like a journey of self-discovery.
And on that note of growth, Alex.com talks about the importance of setting monthly growth goals.
Growth goals, I love those.
They're a great way to stay focused and motivated.
They give you that sense of direction.
Whether it's a new skill, a habit you want to improve, or a project you're working on.
It's about breaking those bigger goals down into smaller steps, right?
Exactly. And Alex.com reminds us that consistency is key. It's those small, daily actions that really add up over time.
I know, it's like that old saying, one step at a time.
Now, let's talk about something I find really helpful for processing emotions and gaining clarity. Alex.com suggests journaling.
Journaling. I used to keep a diary as a teenager, but haven't done it in ages.
It can be a powerful tool. They recommend writing for just a few minutes, 3 times a week.
That doesn't seem too overwhelming.
Not at all. It's about creating that safe space to explore your thoughts and feelings.
Like a conversation with yourself.
Exactly. Sometimes just getting those thoughts out of your head and onto paper can make a huge difference.
I can imagine it helps you process things.
It's like those thoughts and emotions lose their power when they're no longer bottled up inside.
Makes sense. They're out in the open. You can look at them more objectively.
Now, along with journaling, Alex.com highlights the power of reading.
Reading. I love a good book.
They suggest aiming for 1 book a month.
That seems doable.
Books open up so many new worlds and possibilities, right?
We really do. It's like stepping into someone else's shoes, experiencing life through their eyes.
And they expose you to new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of thinking.
It's amazing how much you can learn from a single book.
And Alex.com points out that reading can even enrich your conversations, make you a more well-rounded individual.
That's a great point. It gives you more to talk about, more to think about.
Now, speaking of creating a nurturing environment, Alex.com also touches on something that's often overlooked.
What's that?
Our physical surroundings. They suggest decluttering 1 room each month.
Decluttering. Okay, that I can definitely get behind.
There's something so freeing about getting rid of clutter, right?
It is. And it's not just about the physical space.
I know, right? It's like it clears your mind, too.
Exactly. When my space is cluttered, my mind feels cluttered.
And it can be overwhelming to try to tackle everything at once.
Yeah, that's where I get stuck. It feels like too much.
Focusing on 1 room a month makes it more manageable.
And you get that sense of accomplishment as you go.
Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, Alex.com offers a few final tips for creating that richer, more fulfilling life.
Sounds like good advice to end on.
They highlight the importance of tracking your progress and adjusting your goals.
That's essential.
It's about staying on course, making sure your efforts are aligned with what you want to achieve.
like being the captain of your own ship, making those course corrections along the way.
And Alex.com concludes with a reminder that's especially crucial in today's world, setting boundaries with work to protect your mental health.
Boundaries are so important, but often hard to set.
They are, but it's about recognizing that your energy is a finite resource.
You can't pour from an empty cup, as they say.
Exactly. So, as we move into the final part of our deep dive, let's remember that true richness is about more than just money.
It's about nurturing all aspects of our lives.
Our finances, our relationships, our physical and mental well-being, and our creative spirits. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the final part of our exploration. And we're back with the final part of our deep dive into Alex.com's 15 monthly investments for a richer life.
Ready to wrap things up?
We are. And in the last 2 parts, we covered a lot about finances, relationships, self-care.
Those foundational elements.
Exactly. But now let's talk about some of those finishing touches.
The things that really add depth and meaning to life.
You got it. And Alex.com had some interesting suggestions.
Like what?
Well, they start off by encouraging us to tap into our creativity.
Creativity. I love that.
They suggest trying a new hobby 1 day a month.
Whole day. Seems like a lot to dedicate.
It doesn't have to be a full 24 hours, more like setting aside some time to explore something new.
So like taking a painting class or learning to play an instrument.
Exactly. Or pottery, photography, writing, anything that sparks your interest.
So it's about stepping outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely. Rediscovering that sense of curiosity we often lose as adults.
Makes sense. We get so caught up in routines.
We do. And Alex.com emphasizes that it's not about being perfect at these new hobbies.
Oh, good. Because I'm definitely not a natural at everything I try.
Me neither. It's more about enjoying the process, the learning, the exploration.
Right. Embracing that beginner's mindset.
And speaking of growth, Alex.com also highlights the power of setting monthly growth goals.
Goals. Gotta have goals.
Exactly. Whether it's a new skill, a habit you want to improve, or a project you're working on, those goals give you direction.
So, like, instead of just vaguely wanting to learn something new, you set a specific goal.
Exactly. Maybe you want to learn a new language or finally write that book you've always dreamed of.
Right, make it tangible.
And Alex.com reminds us that consistency is key. It's about taking those small daily actions that add up over time.
Small steps lead to big changes. I like that.
Now, for something a bit more introspective, Alex.com recommends journaling.
Journaling. You know, I've always wanted to try that, but never really stuck with it.
It can be a powerful tool for processing emotions and gaining clarity.
How so?
Well, it's like having a conversation with yourself on paper.
Like a safe space to just let your thoughts flow?
Exactly. Alex.com suggests writing for just a few minutes, 3 times a week.
That doesn't seem too daunting.
Not at all. And they say sometimes just getting those thoughts out of your head and onto paper can make a world of difference.
Right, because we tend to overthink things when they're just swirling around in our minds.
Absolutely. And sometimes those thoughts and emotions lose their power once they're written down.
I can see that. It's like you're taking away some of their energy.
Now, along with journaling, Alex.com highlights the transformative power of reading.
Oh, reading. That's definitely one of my favorite things to do.
They suggest aiming for 1 book a month.
1 a month. I think I can manage that.
Books can open up so many new worlds and perspectives.
We really do. It's like traveling without leaving your home.
And Alex.com points out that it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment. Even just 30 minutes a day can make a difference.
That's encouraging. Because sometimes I feel like I don't have huge chunks of time to dedicate to reading.
But those little pockets of time add up.
They do.
Now, speaking of creating a nurturing environment, remember Alex.com's suggestion about decluttering?
Yeah. 1 room a month.
Right. Have you had a chance to try that yet?
You know, I actually started with my desk last month just to see what it felt like.
Yeah, amazing.
I didn't realize how much that clutter was weighing me down.
There's something so freeing about creating order out of chaos, isn't there?
Absolutely. I felt lighter, more focused, more energized.
It's amazing how our physical space can impact our mental and emotional state.
It really is. I'm definitely going to keep going with the 1 room a month challenge.
Awesome. And to wrap things up, Alux.com leaves us with a few final thoughts.
Okay, let's hear them.
They emphasize the importance of tracking your progress and adjusting your goals along the way.
Making sure you're staying on track.
Exactly, like a ship captain making course corrections.
Makes sense. Life is constantly changing, so we need to be flexible.
And finally, Alux.com reminds us to protect our mental health by setting boundaries, especially with work.
Boundaries. So important, but so hard to do sometimes.
I know, right? But they're essential for creating a sustainable and fulfilling life.
Right, because if we're constantly burnt out and stressed, we can't enjoy any of the other good things life has to offer.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Alux.com's 15 monthly investments, what are your biggest takeaways?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is that reminder that small, consistent actions can really make a difference over time.
I agree. It's not about making drastic changes overnight. It's about those little steps we take each day.
And it's not just about one area of life, it's about that holistic approach.
Taking care of our finances, our relationships, our physical and mental well-being, and our creative selves.
Right. It's about nurturing all aspects of ourselves to create that richer, more fulfilling life.
Well said. And thanks to everyone for joining us on this deep dive into Alux.com's 15 monthly investments.
We hope you found some valuable insights and inspiration along the way.
Remember, the journey to a richer life starts with a single step.
So what small step will you take today?
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
That's it for today's episode of Wealth Hustle 247. Be sure to follow, like, comment, and share with others. Keep pushing toward your goals, and we'll see you in the next episode.